Thanks, guys, for doing this today. I mean, you've heard out of home being mentioned so many times in the last 2 days, but we're here to talk about the value, right? And we'll talk about the application because we have the technology view and we have the application view and the co-face view. But let's talk about why is out of home getting such love from a lot of people? Everybody's talking about it's the hot area. So I want to talk to the agency people first about that because that's sort of where we'd start. But why is it now that we're seeing, I mean, look, out of home has been a legacy media channel for a long, long time. It's a great creative sort of upper funnel sort of channel. But now with this data-driven aspect, there seems to be a lot of hype around it. So let's talk about why that is.
Yeah, definitely. I think the last 5 years or so, the digital world made it so shiny and exciting, and the capabilities and the tech that you could do, everyone just went mad for. And so budgets went there for quite a long time. And I think now, certainly over COVID, and maybe it had a bit of a hiatus, but more so now, outdoors clawing that budget back because it now has some of the capabilities to do the things that the digital world is doing, but still has that high impact, glossy appeal that has always been so strong for an offline channel. So our clients are still, really using outdoor a lot more now because it's got the high impact stature and the kind of capabilities that we wanted from the digital world.
Because you were saying that a lot over the last couple of years, you're seeing more spend going into that channel. So actually, the real world is actually showing that it's not just hype. There is actual money flowing in that direction because of that addressability piece.
Definitely, and I think that the reason for that is because I'm fortunate that I've worked on a lot of clients that want to test and learn as much as possible. So we've been able to put money towards things which are proving the value of that data-driven outdoor and its affinity with mobile partners, other providers, its connection with different channels, which has meant that we've been able to put more budget behind it and figure out the value of it, as you say. So
your client, KFC, has seen the value of that in a minute. We'll come on to that in a minute. The kinetic view I want to talk about, because obviously you're in the weeds. Tell us why there's such hype at the minute, because like a lot of people are talking about this innovation. You think about display is kind of losing its ability to do what it used to do. Out of home started to become very interesting with the data piece appended to it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think one of the interesting things around kind of digital out of home and programmatic out of home is that we're not tied to cookies. So there's been a lot of kind of conversation around that over this couple of days, but that's not necessarily something that we're tied into. So I think a lot of the interest that's coming into digital out of home, programmatic out of home, is that it allows clients to harness audiences in a new way in a channel that people on the street really like. So people often, on social media snap a billboard and say, hey, this was really cheeky or funny or informative or different. Whereas I'm not sure that's necessarily the case in other channels. So it's a channel that people on the street tend to like. And what we're now able to do is allow brands to get a lot closer to the people they're more interested in. And as well as doing that, getting in front of the right people at the right time, kind of the premise of advertising, we're able to use contextual data to give the person on the street a better experience at the same time. So with the application of, kind of sports outcomes, stuff that's been around for a little while, but weather, temperature, all these different sorts of elements we can now bring into play that are able to make...
So you're able to apply that level of granularity to a campaign, an out-of-home campaign, temperature, location. I mean, location was always a thing, but other factors, the granularity has become real interest for clients.
I'll give you an example. So for a skiing client was looking to promote kind of their new holidays, when it's snowing in their resorts, we can trigger ads in key cities in the UK in vicinity to airports. So we're saying, hey, it's snowing in Val Thorens or wherever it may be. Do you want to book your skiing holiday now? So it's all about, for us anyway, using audience data to get closer to people you care about, and then when you're there, making the creative as helpful and interesting as you can, and using contextual data to do that.
Yeah, sure. I mean, you're on the technology side, so tell us what. Yeah. And obviously, you're excited about this new hype cycle of out of home.
I suppose to come at it a slightly different way, but Broadsign is probably not the most well-known tech platform, but any of the ads, outdoor ads that you saw on your way to the venue today, irrespective of the media owner, was probably running on broad sign infrastructure. So with the ad server for out of home, and that's globally as well, for about 60% of all screens. And then about 3 years ago, we built out an SSP to allow buyers, programmatic buyers, digital buyers, to access that supply and surface the data from the screen so they can overlay different data sets against that.
Why, right now though, why do you think the clients are moving in this direction? And I will come to the democratization of out-of-home in a minute, because I actually think this is probably the most exciting part of it. But why do you think right is it that level of granularity? And where are you seeing the buyers coming from? That's the most interesting part. Is it traditional out-of-home buyers, or are we talking about someone sitting behind a DSP or sort of?
Yeah, so the actual shape of our business has changed over the last 3 years. So let's say 3 years ago, it was probably more of the programmatic pipes were being used as an automation route. Just, standard buy, it just became easier to execute via programmatic. What you're seeing now is that the DSPs have become more advanced, and also the media owners are sharing more data. So you're able to surface the data more effectively for more intelligent buys. So we're now seeing more digital first buyers getting into the market as well. And ease of execution. You take away from the conversation yesterday.
Because it was tough to do a lot of out-of-home beforehand. Like it wasn't the most streamlined process.
Yeah, it was inefficient. And what I took from the conversation yesterday around connected TV is it's a real challenge, it's a difficult buy. And I think the ease of execution for out-of-home has become quite a strong suit for us. If you're already buying digital campaign on mobile or desktop, you're now able to execute that by using your existing DSPs with your existing data partners and out-of-home campaign as well.
Is it a case of, this is interesting, just because is there a struggle going on within the agency at the minute about who owns this new sort of area, or is it sort of standard? Like, because you walk across one big client, right? You work with KFC, right? So you look at the omnichannel, but is there a struggle between who actually owns that out-of-home execution? That, like, so, are you seeing it internally about the digital team owns this, or the traditional out-of-home buying team owns this?
So they're still buying them individually in their teams, but I think the thing that the industry is doing and Mindshare is doing particularly a lot of at the moment is looking at audiences from a mindset point of view. So you have one or many digital data points that are then being activated across several channels, and because they are bought into that upfront, and we have that piece of work with them, with partners, we are then activating across several channels the same data points. So the Lifebuoy example is hand sanitizer, for those that don't know. And they looked at kind of macro and micro data, so government infection rate data, as well as a location partner data, to then activate across audio, digital, out of home, to make sure we were pinpointing the moments and signals for that audience. So they're all working together on the same data points and insight and mindsets of our audiences. They just happen to be pressing the button in different ways in their different channels, but it's not fighting against each other because they're all doing it for the same insight.
Yeah, but are you seeing, Alice, are you seeing that that's happening in Connecticut? Obviously, you come from like a programmatic background, PPC, and the rest. Are you seeing a mindset shift there within your own agency about how you execute those out-of-home campaigns?
Yeah, it's a really good question, and I think there are multiple parts of it, right? So you've got clients who've been in the out-of-home space for a very long time, who have been wanting more of this stuff, but we've needed the world to get more interconnected. We've needed more data. We've needed more tech to come into the space, which we now very much have. So we're bringing those guys to the table, and we're now being able to offer them so much more. And we've got digital clients who are now going, okay, I can link this in. I can make this all work together. And I think in terms of the other part of that, we obviously work very closely with all of our agency partners. It's very much an us all together. How do we make this all work for our clients to get them where they want to go and to get them what they need? So it's very much, I see all this as a rising tide lifting all boats. So, we work very closely with all our agencies and make sure it works for what they need to do.
Yeah.
Is it a case of that because of this, as you say, you're simplifying the process, that there's new money coming in? Like, the fact that you're able to kind of apply some level of addressability, right? I have heard stories about direct-to-consumer brands actually spending money on the out-of-home space, and generally it's been like big legacy brands, right, doing a lot of out-of-home. But are we seeing a new buyers come into the market from your perspective? Like, is that where we're seeing the growth and the excitement? Because there are a lot of now people who are buyers who are saying, oh, I think out-of-home is actually quite a good medium for me to build my brand and actually apply some level of addressability to that.
Yeah, it's always been extremely good at, brand building, top of funnel. And what's been pleasing to see is that there's a number of studies around this, that how out of home can be a primer of other media or channels and then be a driver of it. So what we're starting to see more is DR for out of home, and that's nothing new, but the actual budget is digital budget going into out of home to drive the e-commerce or drive the actual action, which has been a nice change.
And so where does out-of-home want to take the budget from, right? So like display has some existential problems, let's put it at that point, right? Where Dior display, Dior, whatever you want to call it, is probably not possible going forward. Is this the opportunity to take money from the display pots and bring it into out-of-home? I'm just wondering where that money is going to come from, where that growth is going to come from. And I want to talk to the point of view first, because I'd be interested in, are you shifting money around? Is that like, as your clients go, I don't want to spend £1 million in display because I can't get anything out of it like I used to. Is that happening?
I think sometimes, but it's not as simplistic as that. It's not that we're actively choosing to move pots around because of that, it's that the briefs are changing. And obviously my role as a planner, or I see my role as a planner as being the advocate within the agency for whatever that brief that lands on my desk. So if and when there is the role for either outdoor data-driven or specifically connected to mobile or connected to radio, it will take more budget than display perhaps. That's not to say it is across the board. It's in the specific examples where it's relevant, then yes, it's potentially doing a job that display might not be doing. Similarly, there is still a huge value that we've seen in our kind of digital programmatic and social teams where we would have digital-only campaigns, and we don't use outdoor as much. So I don't think it's as easy to answer as yes or no, because it really depends on each individual brand and client at the moment.
But from your perspective, you still think it's a more part of the broader omni-channel piece rather than being like the go-to media silo?
Definitely, it needs to be part of a holistic plan or campaign. Otherwise, they're all doing individual jobs and not working together for the same outcomes that our brands and clients are needing.
Yeah. From the Kinetic point of view, though, you're kind of focused on getting that budget. Who do you want to take the budget off? Do you want to take the budget off YouTube? Do you want to take the budget off Facebook? I mean, are you trying to take audio-visual budget from other pots that are like now not probably as good as they used to were?
Yeah, I mean, I think I would kind of echo Jess's point, where I think there is a lot of new capabilities that we have now, and the level of understanding of what we can do is just growing and growing and growing, and we're being invited into more conversations to showcase, this is the outcome that we want for our business. What could you contribute towards that? So every business is different in that regard and has different stuff that they want. So again, it's not necessarily that, we're targeting in on this and that's the game plan. It's very much around where can we add value in this role? Where does it make sense? Where can we partner with other channels to enhance the overall and get the client the outcome that they want? So it will come from wherever is appropriate for that brief and that client at that time.
Stuart, come on. Where's this money coming from? I want to hear you taking money from somebody. Like, if out-of-home is really going to stand up here, I need to see somebody telling me that we're taking a couple of million quid off YouTube here. I want you to get ball cheap with me here. Come on.
It's a fantastic canvas that's able to take video and 6-second slots. So where you're seeing 6-second slots, Facebook, YouTube, etc. It's easily transferable into the medium, and it offers scale. Offers the ability to target difficult audiences that you'll find online, like youth, in a really cost-effective way. The measurement piece is really coming on strong. So I think there's a strong case for taking budgets from other strong video pots.
What is the measurement piece? Can you ask that question? Like, what will be the killer measurement metric for this? Is it like viewability, or is it? How do you tell me, as a non-out-of-home or digital out-of-home person, how do you apply a measurement metric to this?
Yeah.
I mean, it's bad enough for display. Everybody in this room is how you display. The view-through was nonsensical, but like, tell me about the digital out-of-home measurement piece.
Again, I think it's not as simplistic as having one measurement metric against it. It's depending what the role is for it and what we want to do. But from my perspective, what I love to see is not only can we use digital outdoor, programmatic outdoor with mobile to have a better metric there when we're looking at footfall or engagement or whatever it is. As Stuart, you rightly said, like, we're using outdoor a lot more as a primer. So if we're priming them to do what, that's the measurement. You know, it's several years ago, I worked on a campaign where every outdoor poster had a snap code. So our action was at every point, our metric and measurement was, did they use the snap code? Or did they walk past, they might have taken in the poster, but they didn't actively do anything off the back of it. And then the kind of big picture measurement for us is going to be, the more that we go down a programmatic outdoor route and the more data-driven outdoor that we do, what does our, the big clients that have access to econometrics, how does that change it across time? So next year, do we see that our optimizers are spitting out significantly bigger budgets because of the role programmatic outdoor has played, or is it still one part of a bigger outdoor budget pot, which, we still works for the client, but, at what level?
So you're saying that, again, it's more it's part of a broader customized attribution piece. It's not necessarily one killer measurement metric for it, because obviously everybody looks for that when they can, where's my addressability, right? How do I, is it the QR code, right? Is it someone buying a product off the back of it?
Yeah, again, it can be, and we often do anything from actual action off the back of it through to brand lift studies and the longer attribution piece. I think it's, a bit of everything.
Yeah, I mean, just to jump in there, econometrics still for larger clients is going to be part of that world, absolutely. But out-of-home in and of itself does drive positive outcomes of brands, right? So we have brand uplift studies that show positive outcomes on many different parameters: purchase intent, brand awareness, brand perception. And especially with the creative canvas that we have, that gives us a real opportunity to, be playful in different ways and drive positive perceptions of brands. So those are important to us. But equally, one of the benefits of out-of-home is that it's a real-world medium, right? So it's a physical element in the real world. So footfall is an important element. And we also see there's kind of complementary technologies coming up as, retailers are getting more invested and savvy in this role, where we can begin to understand those elements a little bit more.
So do you still see it as a brand upper funnel type thing, rather than, are you still applying the legacy piece? Because I'm just curious, because if the role here is to grow the pot for this medium, are digital buyers going to look for something different than your typical legacy buyers?
So out-of-home is a one-to-many medium, right? That's never going to change. It's the very nature of what it is. So what digital out-of-home and programmatic out-of-home, some of the real benefits that we can drive there are it's more about making targeted broadcasts, right? So brand metrics are always going to be really important in that context. So I think it's not necessarily about making it an exact direct response medium, because by its very nature, it's not necessarily designed to do that. But I think from everything that we've discussed today, it's a channel that has a capacity to prime people to take action. They're out there in the real world where they can actually go into a store. With DCO, we can direct people to their nearest branch. You're 4 minutes away, you're 10 minutes away, there's a shop around the corner. We are able to deploy that with the new data, the new options we've got with flexibility in the buying. So one of the things that I think is really exciting about this space is that there's an opportunity to kind of look differently. So yes, brand is always going to be hugely important, but there will be new things that emerge. QR codes are making a renaissance, they're coming back.
Who knew it? Huh?
Yeah, absolutely.
QR codes are back. Maybe I need to do a day's work experience at the Kinetic office to understand this. I'll come in for 24 hours and we can run a campaign. Oh, there's a dog. Thank you. So let's leave you with the last word. When your DSP clients, where you're integrating quite a few, are they looking at this legacy stuff, or have their mindsets shifted?
Yeah, just on the measurement piece as well, working with these third-party new data providers, some real advancements in what they're able to do. So around being able to, as the ad server, being able to correlate the time of when the ad's being shown to people in proximity to the ad and then going in store, so you're able to prove effectiveness of footfall. And then we're working with another partner that has a beacon in store, and when the store is low footfall, they're like, right, we need more people. They ping the, they ping the DSP
right.
and they're like, right, get more McDonald's ads in.
Interesting.
And that's proven effectiveness. That's a new take on
So
there's
there's a real-time aspect to this then, like,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
not like just let it go. Like, you can see in real time the numbers are collapsing in footfall, so let's bang up a couple of
Yeah,
digital
and-
ads to get a nice chicken fillet burger out of...
I know, he just mentioned McDonald's, which is...
Oh, I do apologise. A bucket of chicken
Yeah.
from KFC, tasty.
Zinger burger,
Tasty
maybe.
KFC, finger licking good. Anyway, it works in me.
Yeah.
And on that brand promotion note, I think we'll finish it there because I think we're going to break for coffee and tea. But thank you very much for the panel. Thank you guys for input. And by the way,
Yeah.
Out of Home is an evolving model. It is very interesting, but like CTV panel yesterday, there's a lot of legacy and new digital piece coming together, which is quite interesting. But guys, thanks very much for your time.